Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Nick, and you're listening to the weekly audio release of my novel, American Traditional. We're rolling now, straight into the story. Today it's Chapter 1, Eclipse. We meet Leo Kryton in his shop, needle in hand, building an empire on ink and secrets. This is where the fall starts. So settle in, turn it up, and let's begin.
Chapter 1. Eclipse. The rotary pen machine purred in his hand, expensive and precise. Leo Kryton leaned over the trust fund kid's shoulder blade, watching the dragon's throat fill with fire. Crimson bleeding into orange. Yellow highlights for the heat. The saturation was flawless.
Hold still,
Leo said. The kid obeyed. Behind him, Jesse hovered like a nervous bird, holding the tray of fresh paper towels and A&D ointment with the reverence of an altar boy at Mass. 22 years old, talented hands, decent portfolio. But Leo had fired him 6 months in for asking too many questions about why instead of just doing what. The kid had come crawling back 2 weeks ago. Leo had let him in, but only as far as the mop and the autoclave. Jesse was a lesson now, not an apprentice. The shop, Eclipse Inc., sat on a gentrified corner of Ionia Avenue, all exposed brick and Edison bulbs. The kind of place where people with disposable income came to feel dangerous for an afternoon. Leo had opened it 3 years ago with money from the Rust Belt Brotherhood, the motorcycle club that ran the West Side. They'd fronted the capital, and in return he tattooed their members for free and didn't ask questions about the packages they occasionally asked him to hold. It was a clean arrangement. Mutually beneficial. He was the artist. They were the patrons. That's how he thought of it. The dragon breathed. The kid exhaled. Leo killed the machine and set it down.
done.
He said. The kid twisted to look in the mirror, his eyes going wide.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Leo stripped off his gloves and tossed them in the trash.
don't pick at it. Keep it clean. 2 weeks, it'll settle.
He walked to the front counter where the cash sat in a neat stack. $800 bills, payment for 4 hours of work. He didn't count it. He knew it was right. His hands were steady. They were always steady. That was the gift and the curse. The ability to hold a needle over skin without a tremor, to lay down lines that would outlast the flesh they marked. Steady hands were the foundation of everything he'd built. They didn't shake during the work, only after. He felt the familiar pull, the thirst. It was always there, a constant companion, manageable as long as he fed it. He'd learned the rhythm years ago. Wake up, coffee, work, drink. Work, drink, work, drink. Never drunk, never sloppy, just maintaining the edge, keeping the anxiety at bay. The door opened, the bell chiming softly. Sarah stepped in, her black hair catching the light, her sharp green eyes behind dark-rimmed glasses scanning the shop before landing on him. She wore her usual uniform, black jeans, leather jacket, boots that could crack a shin if needed. She looked like a goth librarian who'd read all the banned books and decided to keep a few.
How's the masterpiece, Maestro?
She asked, her voice low, amused.
Finished.
Leo said. He crossed to her, the money still in his hand.
Kid's got a dragon now. Couple Instagram posts. We'll have 10 more by next week.
She smiled, the kind that didn't quite reach her eyes.
You're untouchable.
He knew. The reflection in the plate glass window showed him everything he'd built. The shop, the reputation, the woman standing in front of him with her arms crossed and her glasses catching the light like twin shields. He'd clawed his way up from nothing, from a double-wide trailer outside Rockford, where the heat never worked right and his mother worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. From cheap machines and cheaper clients, bikers who'd let a kid practice on their skin for the price of a case of beer. From being nobody to being the name people whispered when they wanted real work done. And he'd done it himself, self-taught. No master, no apprenticeship. He'd figured it out through trial and error, through YouTube videos and late nights and sheer stubborn will. That made him better than the traditionalists, the old school guys who clung to their rules and their codes like they were scripture. Leo had proven you didn't need any of that. You just needed talent and hunger,
Let's go celebrate.
he said.
Winchester should be picking up by now.
Sarah's nose wrinkled.
Finance bros pretending to be interesting? Pass. Let's go to the Copper Horse. I want to see something real.
The Copper Horse, the biker bar on the west side where the Rust Belt Brotherhood gathered, where Leo had learned to tattoo a decade ago by practicing on drunk, willing volunteers who didn't care about crooked lines or blowouts. It was where Magnus Volkov held court, where the money came from, where the packages came from. It was the foundation his empire was built on, and Sarah wanted to walk right into it. He should have said no, should have steered her somewhere safer, somewhere that didn't mix his worlds. But the way she looked at him when he said yes to danger, like he was more than just an artist, like he was something wild she'd managed to tame, that look was its own kind of addiction.
The horse it is.
He said. He turned back to the shop. Jesse was cleaning the station, his movements quick and nervous.
Jesse,
Leo called.
lock up. Run the autoclave twice. I'll know if you didn't.
Yes, Leo.
The kid didn't look up. Good. Fear kept people sharp. Fear kept them from getting lazy, from thinking they were entitled to anything beyond what they'd earned. Jesse needed to learn that. Leo opened the cabinet beneath his station and pulled out the bottle. Premium bourbon, the kind that cost more than Jesse made in a week. He uncapped it and took a long pull, the burn immediate and familiar. It wasn't about taste, it was about maintenance. The low-grade hum of anxiety that came from having everything to lose required constant management. The whisper that said, "You're not good enough. You're going to fuck this up. They're going to see through you." The bourbon drowned that voice. He felt the heat spread through his chest, felt his shoulders drop half an inch, felt the world come back into focus. This was the reset button. This was how he stayed sharp. He wiped his mouth, capped the bottle, and turned to Sarah.
Let's go.
Outside, the late September air was sharp, the sidewalks crowded with Friday night foot traffic. Young professionals in expensive casual wear, art students with deliberately torn jeans, couples holding hands and laughing at private jokes. They moved through Leo's city like they belonged here, like they'd built something, but they hadn't. Leo drove the Mustang, 87 GT, charcoal black, still ran like it remembered what power meant. Sarah rode shotgun, her hand on his thigh, her eyes on the city sliding past. The buildings reflected in her glasses, distorted and bright.
You ever think about leaving?
She asked.
Leaving what?
Grand Rapids, Michigan, all of it.
She turned to look at him.
We could go anywhere. You're good enough. West Coast, New York, Portland, places where the real money is.
This is the real money.
Leo said. He squeezed her hand.
And I own this city. Why would I leave?
She smiled, but something in it felt uncertain. The Copper Horse sat on a corner lot, squat and defiant, its neon sign buzzing against the twilight. Motorcycles lined the curb, Harleys, choppers, bikes that looked like they'd been assembled from scrap and spite. Leo parked across the street and killed the engine. The building had been there since the 60s, a relic from when the West Side was all factories and working men who drank to forget what they did for money. Now it was the Brotherhood's headquarters, their kingdom, and walking through that door meant accepting their rules. Leo had been coming here for years. It felt like home in a way his actual apartment never did.
You ready?
Sarah asked.
Always.